Hey, here we are, live and in concert. It's high noon on the East Coast. This is Bowles TV. Hey, it's BOLES. .TV. .television. BOLES. Hey, here we are. Very strange weather. We live in a high-rise with very big windows, 8-foot windows, that slide this way. And they're metal and double-paned and wonderful. But whenever the wind is above 9 miles an hour, and it is now currently 17 miles per hour, the wind whistles through the windows. Because you can't, they're not closed all the way. They're closed, but I guess not all the way, because you really have to push them really closed to stop the screaming. The wind beneath your wings is not in the window. And it's very annoying when you're trying to prepare for a show, because you close the windows, you put down the big barrier thing, shade, whatever it is. And there's still this incessant whistling. And now it's gone away a little bit. But we'll see. It'll probably come back and make me even crazier. So yesterday, busy day, had first of all, we went to get a shingles shot. Because I had shingles many years ago. It's a terrible, painful thing. And I was saved by my skin doctor, whom I also saw yesterday. And there were two vaccines. One was not good, and it was replaced by a better one called Shingrix. So Jan and I, after 4 years, supposed to go get a booster, 4 or 5 years. But because I had shingles and it was very painful, my doctor said, look, get the booster. So I went there, waited in line, last week, made the appointment. We get there, and I'm said, look, we've had our shingles shot 4 years ago, so I don't know if this is, because it comes in 2 shots. If this is our first booster, if this is our first shot, if this is our second shot, I don't know. And the woman behind the cashier was not interested. The cashier was not interested. Just bring it up with the pharmacist. I said, but you just said you were going to go ask her. No, just ask her when she comes to give you your shot, if this is your booster or if this is a first shot or a second shot. Just ask her. Oh, okay. So we run it through. Insurance pays. And she said, when did you have your shot again? I said, I think it was 4 years ago. And she said, well, our records only go back 2 years. So we have no way of really knowing. I said, well, I got my shot here. So we have no way of knowing. So we're waiting to get our shot. And the pharmacist comes out. And she has this printout of our entire history of everything we've ever done at Walgreens. Duane Reade. I said, well, that's interesting. That seems to go back a long way. She said, yeah, it's everything you've ever done. And I said, but we were just, I thought, okay, don't start a fight. And she said, look, you guys had your both shots. Your last shot was in 2019. I said, okay, so. And she said, look, Shingrix is a one-time vaccine. You do the 2 shots, and then you're done. I said, that's not what my doctor said. She said, well, that's what the CDC is saying. And unless they've changed, we can't give you another shot. So I thought, well, that's weird. So I thanked her, and she was very kind, very pleasant. I know her. She used to be a tech 20 years ago at that same Duane Reade. And then she went to pharmacy school, and she got hired on. Now she's the head pharmacist. That's amazing. So I ran home, did my checks, Shingrix. It's sort of fuzzy. The CDC doesn't think you need to have a booster if you've had Shingrix. If you're over 50 and you're immunocompromised and you've had shingles before. Oh, hot water's ready if you hear that. Maybe you need another shot. As I've said many times on this, I would like to have a vaccine of something every week. I'll have 2 or 3 of the same vaccine. I'll take them all. I would not have minded to have another Shingrix vaccine. Because I know that once you get shingles, some doctors will say, oh, you're immune forever. But it's not true. You do the research, about 5 years. First 3 years, you have about 80% antibodies, not going to happen again. Then you get to year 4, you get to year 5, it goes down to 11%, and then after 5 years, you're on your own. And that's when you then get your shingles vaccine, Shingrix, which is terrific, and you've seen all of the TV commercials. Shingles doesn't care, and it's true, it doesn't. It ruined my Christmas. Wrote an article about it in bowlesblogs.com. So get the shingles shot if you're over 50. It doesn't hurt. And I now know that allegedly the CDC says it's good for life, which is terrific. I thought we had to go back every 4 or 5 years to get another shot. But I was told no. And all those years ago when I was not feeling well, I had these bumps on my face. I didn't know what they were. I went to my skin doctor, my dermatologist for the first time, all those years ago. Hey, Gordon says any shot that's good for life is good in my book. Absolutely right. And if you ever had chickenpox as a child, and we all have in some way, shingles is inside you. And it's not herpes, it's herpes zoster, but not herpes simplex 1 or 2. It's a different kind, and it's nasty. And it's only on one side of your body, and I was lucky enough to have it on my face. It follows your nerves. So right, almost like the Joker. It was all boom, 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 boom. Doctor said, that's your nerve line in your face. I said, well, isn't that wonderful? He said, well, you're going to have scars all over your face. I said, that's fine. I don't care. I said, I don't really scar, but if I do, fine, because I don't want it anymore. So he gave me some cream we put on there. And he said, if you had waited one more day, because you're in your 3rd day, because it's blistering now, if you had waited one more day, the medication I would give you would not work. And instead of this lasting painfully for 2 weeks, it would last painfully for you for 4 months. So he said, way back then, take this prescription, go to the pharmacy, and take the medication immediately. And I did. And then I was down for a couple of weeks, and my UPS guy, I see him every day. I didn't see him for 2 weeks. He said, I saw you in the street, and you hadn't shaved, and you looked just terrible. What's wrong with you? I said, well, I really couldn't shave because I have all these sores on my face. He said, what happened? I told him shingles. He said, oh, no, my mother-in-law has that. I said, really? Did you go to the doctor? No. I said, well, if she doesn't go to the doctor, that's like a 4-month thing. She said, she's in her 4th month. And she walks around our house, my mother-in-law, without a top on, without a bra on, because it's under her breast. So she walks around like this, naked, from the top down, holding her breast, walking around because it's so painful for her. I said, wow, well, my doctor said extra strength Tylenol. That is the one thing that will make the pain go away. He said, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to go tell her. And he did, and it seemed like it made a little bit of a difference for her. But shingles is nasty, nasty stuff. Don't do it. Stay away. So I did go see my skin doctor yesterday, and we're old chums now. He is a 78-year-old Jewish man, and he's very happy about that. And he does the blue light therapy, so it burns, gives you a little sunburn in 9 minutes, and then the rest of the day your face hurts. And he accused me of being a yenta yesterday. He didn't think I knew what that meant, but I know what it meant. And I was having a conversation with him about a friend of mine who died. And I was very curious about this friend, who were very close as children, and then 30 years, no contact. And then found out this friend died early. And I didn't know anything really about this friend. I don't think this friend ever got married, ever had any kind of meaningful sexual intimacy. I don't know. I was just curious. And I don't know if straight, gay, I was wondering I was asked how I am. I tell him, I lost a friend. Don't be a yenta. You know what that means, right? I say, I think I know what that means, yes. I said, but don't be a yenta. I was just wondering, as a human being, if this friend of mine ever found love. Did this friend die of a broken heart, which is my theory? Was there someone special ever? Were they just blowing in the wind? In the whims of the galaxy and the universe? Alone? Dying alone? They didn't accuse me of being Yenta again. And then I, to give a little background about this person, and they were like, oh, well, that's interesting. Who's the Yenta now, sir? And then he told me that he refuses to get the COVID antibodies test. He was sick for 3 days. He said it was a little sore throat, sniffles. I got it on the weekend. He said I slept all day Sunday, and by Monday I was fine. And 4 days later, his beautiful wife, who was also a skin doctor, became sick, and she did a home test, and she had COVID. So back and forth for the last week and a half, you gave me COVID. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. He refused to do a test. What a coincidence, Gordon says. Yeah. He refused to do a COVID test. She did a home test that was positive. She did not go to the doctor and get a formal PCR test. But she is now saying to him, you go get a test to see if you have COVID antibodies, and then we're going to know if you gave me COVID or not. And he said, why would I do that? Live and let live. And as we were leaving the exam room, I said, from now on, every time you sneeze, she's going to go make you get a COVID test. And he laughed and said, I think that's already happening. So that's fun with your skin doctor. Very weird conversation all around. But that's okay. And hey, if you haven't heard the news, I have a whole new collection available for sale on OpenSea. You can go to opensea.io/BowlesTV. I'll put the link on our Discord server. But we're back. Remember, we had all that problems trying to mint things, so we went to Rarible, and we minted there, and we minted something else at Rarible today, which is very lovely, very fast process. OpenSea is very difficult to mint on, and for 2 weeks I couldn't mint anything. I put in a ticket, they ignored me, they said, we have no idea if this will ever get fixed. So yesterday, on a whim, I said, well, let me see if I can mint anything. And I was able to mint, I think, 9 things. And they're all related to cat brains. These are the blueprints of your cat. And they're all selling for the low, low price of 0.03 Ethereum, which is around $36. And this is just delightful. It's all AI. I asked Midjourney bot to please give me an architectural drawing and blueprint of a cat brain. This is one of my favorites, Trojan Cat. Makes me laugh. The bot did the whole cat, just not the brain, which I think is very funny. This one is very frightening. But if you look at it up close, it's really awfully well done. It's the most detailed look inside a cat's head that we have available for sale. And they're all just slightly weird and slightly different. What a delight. Let me see if I can get up this one. Get this one up close. And these are all very high quality, like 6,000 by 6,000, so you can use it as your wallpaper. And this is the cat. There's the nose, the eyes, the strange ears, the suggestion of fur. Very bizarre. And quite lovely and interesting. Gordon says that's very pretty. Pretty and frightening. Sort of the same thing, I guess. So last time we were together, we had a big thing, wore me out, about The Lion King being the most bigoted show on Broadway. Just to remind you, we'll give you a little update. This was the story from the New York Post, and this is really the only place I've heard this discussed, which is the New York Post. So all the New York media are avoiding this to discuss this because they don't want to be on the wrong side of wokeness. And The Lion King, a show happens to be written by white people, performed by black people, interpreted showings for the deaf. This man was fired by a woman named Shelley Guy and Lisa Carling because he's the wrong color to be an interpreter. He's a white guy, not a black guy. And that's what the story is about. And he is now suing them in a federal court for discrimination. And I predict he's going to win a lot of money. I have a feeling there's already a conversation going on because Disney doesn't want to be known as a bigoted show. So I have a feeling they are working behind the scenes or in front of the scenes to make this all go away by making good with Keith. Broadway boots white sign language interpreters from a hit show. Isn't that rotten? Wow. So I did a little 31-minute rant here, and then I made that into a podcast and a video clip that I have sent to many places and propagated many places, and many people are listening to it. Then I got the idea, hey, I really feel terrible for Keith. I think he's getting a very raw deal on this. So I decided to do a little search. And I found Keith's website. Now, I have come to learn in the deaf community for many, many years, Keith is this comedian ASL guy. And this is his website. And you can see Keith is nutty. 20 years of ASL comedy. So he performs in New York as an ASL comedian, tells stories. He's a funny guy, has a lot of experience. Actor, director, performer, blah, 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 husband, Christian. Now this is keithwan.com. I'll put the link in our Discord server later. He's been performing since 2002. All the things he's done, 300 YouTube videos. Coda One, which suggests, as we know, combining side-splitting physical humor with heartfelt real-life stories from his childhood as a hearing child with deaf parents. That's Coda. We discussed it last time, a child of deaf adults. So he was raised right. He was raised by a deaf family. That is the gold standard in the deaf community and interpreting, is getting a coda to interpret for you. Because they're faithful, they know the rules, they don't have to be told the code of ethics because their parents taught them the code of ethics. It's very, very lovely. Here's his photo gallery in performance. Very expressive, very silly, very wild, very funny. Okay? So here we go at the bottom of his page. Send me a message and let's see what we can make happen. So I thought, hey, I'm going to email Keith and say hi and say, what happened to you on Lion King is terrible. And here's some links to what I talked about. Now, I don't expect to get a response or chatting or anything like that. So I send. Boom. 5 minutes later, I get back a note from Keith saying, hey, thanks so much for those links. I'm going to listen to your podcast and your meeting and all that. And then we started talking a little bit, as people do, and I said, I think you're going to win a lot of money, and I hope that that doesn't require your silence so you can keep talking about this. Gordon said, how wonderful. And I said, And I hope that you can interpret again, but my feeling is, they're going to blackball you over this. But I said the most important thing, and the reason I did what I did, is because somebody in this whole thing is going to be called a bigot. And it can't be you. Because you didn't do anything wrong. The bigots were the people who forced you out. Not you, and not what you did. And again, he thanked me profusely. He said there are a lot of things going on with this, a lot of things, emails, stories, other facts that he has that have not been published yet, but that he hopes to share with me soon, but it hasn't been revealed yet. I said, well, whenever you're ready, I'm very interested in talking about that. And then about half an hour later, he emailed me back, said, I listened to your stuff. It's great. Thank you so much. And by the way, he said, what a small world. That article that I shared about the Theater Development Fund, written by my student, talked about Alan Champion, who was the top dog in training interpreters for interpreting Broadway shows. He trained Jana Marie, and it turns out he trained Keith. And Alan's cohort and all of that was Candy Brocker Penn, who was married to the wonderful film director Arthur Penn's son. And Candy and Alan kind of put this all together. They set up the Juilliard training program with Lisa Carling at TDF. Big, fabulous, fun, excellent stuff. And then Alan, as I discussed previously, died of, I believe it was gallbladder cancer. Such a strange way to die. And Keith sent me this link to this video that I can't show you. I can't play it. But it's this funny little video called Not Dead Yet that Keith made with Candy Brocker Penn and some other interpreters. And it's sung to this silly song, Not Dead Yet. I'll put the link to that in our Discord server. And the reason this video was made is because somebody on Facebook all those years ago posted a message, I'm so sorry to tell you that Alan Champion is dead. And he wasn't dead. Now, he was very sick, and people expected him to die sort of quickly, but he wasn't dead yet. So they did this whole thing on, is Alan dead? No, he's dead. Yes, he is. No, he's not. Meanwhile, Alan is standing in the middle saying, wait a minute, stop the song. I'm not dead. I'm right here. And then he kind of passed out. It's very funny. And I'm watching this video and I'm thinking, well, that sounds really familiar. And I showed Jana Marie. I said, we've seen this. We've seen this before, right? This was published a long time ago. 2010. And she said, yeah, we saw that. I said, wait a minute. This is from Keith, that interpreter who got fired because The Lion King's a bigoted show on Broadway. So I go back in time, and I go back to a Bowles blog article from 2011. Alan Champion is not dead. What? How could it be? And this is the story. This is a still from the video, because it turns out Candy Brocker Penn, all those years ago, sent us that link to the video that Keith Wan made about his hero, Alan Champion. So I'm talking about this whole thing. Alan's not dead. Alan's alive. This is a shot of Alan's history and all the things he did on Broadway from Keith's video. And then that's Keith. That's Alan, still alive but pretending to be dead. This is the other interpreter singing the song with Keith. And here is the embedded video that Keith sent me that I had already watched with Jana Marie all those years ago and embedded it in my article. A final shot of Alan. And they talk. He has sort of a distended stomach here because that's where his cancer was, and he makes fun of it, and it's just an amazing celebration of life. I look at the first comment from Gordon. A great legacy, David. Good to know he's alive. And then, as I added here, January, February, March, April, a few months later, he died. He died in Oklahoma with his sister by his side in the same bed in which his mother previously passed. Alan was 55 years old. He died on Good Friday. And we came to learn that it was very important that Alan go home to Oklahoma, and he wanted to die in the bed where his mother died. So I wrote back to Keith. I said, Keith, I didn't know you were that Keith from all those years ago making that video about Alan Champion, your hero, your teacher, our hero, Janice's teacher. We didn't know. And now we know. We're connected forever, brother. And then he never replied again. Why? I'm sure he shared my podcast, my video, my whatever, with his attorney, and his attorney said, stop talking. You can make all the connections with him that you want later, but what he's done and what conversation you've had so far is fabulous, fine, perfect. Don't send him anything. Don't show him anything. Be quiet. And my feeling is also that maybe the reason he's quiet is because Disney has to fix this immediately. It's the 25-year anniversary, I think, this Sunday or whatever, of Lion King on Broadway. They cannot have this around them. They need to make it go away. And unfortunately, the only way you can really do something like that you can make reparations after this has happened, is through a monetary payment. And people try to, oh, gee, you got money for this. Well, that's how these things are fixed. I mean, they're not going to invite him to go back and interpret, because that would be very messy and double, triple two-faced. So the way you say you're sorry in America is, here's some money. I won't do it again. So we'll see what happens. And I feel for Keith. He's in a very difficult situation. This is going to negatively affect his career, no matter what. If he had said nothing, done nothing, let it pass, he would have been marked as the white guy who was trying to push his way into Lion King. So the only way to deal with this kind of thing is to push back, file a federal lawsuit in Manhattan District Court, get an attorney, and go fight. So I wish him the best luck. And what a small world it is. Well, now it's time for our very first break of the day. When we return, we're going to do AI writing. Yeah. It's new, it's weird, and I haven't actually done it with this situation. I've done it previously, but we're going to see what it's like, and I've been very careful not to get too far ahead of it because we're going to explore this together. Back in a moment. And hey, we're back from break. Oh, the wind is whistling. It's just making me crazy. This is Bowles.tv. It's BOLES.television. Now, we weren't supposed to do the writing AI thing next because I get all confused when I start, ranting about things. But we'll do it because we promoted it. We had other news to do about ableism and AirPods, but we'll do that after we're done with our AI writing scheme. So let me think here. Oh, look, back here. I'm losing my lights. Over here, too, a little bit. Oh, well. So, we talked. We did a little tutorial maybe a week or two ago using AI to write slogans for us, to write a blog article for us, to write meow meow for us. Interesting, fun. I think the trial was limited to 5 days or something. And unfortunately, the service has the terrible name of Marmov. M-A-R-M-O-F, Marmov, which is, I guess, the sound you make when you're vomiting. I don't know. But I think they should have used the AI to find a better brand. So after you get your little free taste, then for the low price of $19 a month, which is very expensive to me, you can have unlimited groups, unlimited documents, 20 templates. You are limited to 50,000 words a month, which for some of us, not a great deal. However, if you want to be really bold, you can go for premium for $39 a month or $390 yearly and get triple 150,000 words a month, unlimited groups and all that. Marmov signed in as. So I don't know if I still have, if they keep my stuff that I already did. We'll see. Two weeks ago, it is there. Oh, look at this. This is everything that we did. Right for me. I don't think I can play with this anymore because they're going to cut me off. But this is what we did. We came up with product names: Cat's Paw, Capscaslam, Catastrophe. Our product names: Bowles TV, Internet TV. I didn't write this. Looking for a way to keep your cat entertained for hours on end? Hey, look no further than cats using the bathtub. This unique product allows your cat to enjoy the sensation of using the bathtub without getting wet. Simply place the cats using the bathtub in your tub and let your cat have a blast. So that was our experience. Oh, here's my we wrote a protest to Instagram as well. Hi, Instagram. My name is Bowles TV, and I run the account Bowles Books on your platform. I was recently banned for no reason whatsoever, and I'm extremely confused and disappointed. Can you please explain why my account was banned and what I can do to get it reinstated? Oh, and then it added, I have a lot of followers, that wasn't true, who love my content. That isn't true either. And I would hate for them to miss out on what I have to offer because of this ban. I would appreciate any help you can give me. Thank you, Bowles TV. We did not send that. And then, of course, because we have it on our brain, cats are smarter than we give them credit for. They've been known to open doors, use the toilet, and even turn on the lights. So it's not a stretch to think that they could one day take over the world with their intelligence. That was then. Here we are today. And today, we are playing with Notion, Notion.io. But when you look at the address, it's Notion.so, which is very confusing. So this is what I did. You can download it for Windows or Mac, or you can use the web interface. So I'm using the web interface. All I did was log in, and that was at 6 o'clock this morning, and every half hour since then, I've been getting an email from them saying, you haven't finished setting up your account. Well, this is the fun of it. We're going to set it up together. I don't even know what this is going to do or if it's going to work, but this is supposed to be the next generation AI writing program. And so far, if you're working by yourself and not in a team, it appears to be free. I will put the link on our Discord server. Here are the basics. Welcome to Notion. Here are the basics. Click anywhere and just start typing. Am I supposed to click that? Okay. Hit / to see all the types of content you can add. Headers, videos, subpages, etc. Highlight any text and use the menu that pops up to style your writing whomever you like. See the bop to the left of this checkbox hover? Click and drag to move this line. Okay. Oh, see the ... to the left of this checkbox? Click and drag it to move this line. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, so we did that. Done. Click the New Page button at the bottom of your sidebar to add a new page. Click Templates in your sidebar to get started with a pre-built page. This is a toggle block. Click on the triangle to see your most useful tips. Notion.com templates. More templates built by the Notion community. Notion.com help. Notion.com guides. Okay, so I don't want any of this. Now what do I do? Getting started. So, updates? No. I have them all cut up. Okay. Templates. Okay. Oh, here we go. I don't want a course. Oh. Course schedule. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. This is if I'm planning a course. Because they asked me what I did. I said I was an educator. They didn't have professional writer as a choice. Simple budget, syllabus, classroom, syllabus. No, try syllabus. Use this template. Okay. Now this is supposed to create everything for me. This page is designed to be shared with students on the web. Click Share at the top right and switch on public access to publish this page. Copy the link to share it. So, click on to block. I don't know how I fix this. Enrollment. The study of American history. I don't know how this is supposed to help me. Let's do something else. Let's look for a different template. Oh, are these all engineering, human resources, personal, product management, sales? Let's go personal. Quick note, personal home, task list, reading list, goals. I don't know how this is AI. Where's the AI in this? I don't get it. Inserting members, getting started, quick note, personal home, task list, journal, templates imposed. Maybe this is not what I thought it was, but I know it is. It's the Notion AI. Blog post. Okay. Use this template. Okay, so I will. Now what? A conversation with Ray Garcia together. Critic. Well, where is the AI? I don't get it. Let me do a search because maybe it's the wrong. Maybe I signed up for the wrong thing. Notion AI wait list. Oh, maybe that's what's going on. Introducing Notion AI. Writing to you from San Francisco. Why we built Notion. Today we're taking another step in that direction. We're introducing Notion AI in private alpha. Oh. Isn't that what I clicked on? Oh, I have to join the wait list. Oh. Well, that's just, how do you say it, poopy? Oh. Oh, no. I'm the millionth person in line. Meow. Invite friends to meet up in line. I don't have any friends. Let's see what it wants me to say. Notion plus AI Magic. Join me on the alpha wait list. Okay. Your tweet was sent. Thank you. Yeah. Confirming it was sent. LinkedIn, meow. Sharing a post. Meow. Post. I'm trying to move up the wait list. I don't think we're going to make it today, but maybe by the end of the show. I feel completely deceived because Google led me to that page and said this was Notion AI. And I looked at it and I said, this is Notion SO. This doesn't look like Notion AI. Share on Facebook. In my feed. Post Facebook. Go. Email. 2. Let's see. Who's available? Oh, look. Who else is available? Oh, look. Send. Well, now I want to go back to this. I want to go back to more moth. Will it still keep writing for me? I don't think it will. I used everything up. Well, that's okay. I have a lot of other things we can talk about. But where did this go? That's not what I want. That's not what I want. Oh, I'm all lost here. Notion SO. Well, I like how this looks, and I just want to see the AI stuff. We'll see if I get in. Small text. Don't want small text. Big text. Oh, no, I don't want small text. That turns on full width. No, I don't want full width. Okay. All right. Now, where do we go? I'm all confused. This is a good one. And we talked about ableism. Now, here is an example of what ableism means. Let's say at a major university teaching program, you have a deaf person who is in charge of the American Sign Language program. And that person does an excellent job, forward thinking. And then for whatever reason, COVID hits, that person gets let go. And everyone that person was dealing with is hearing. So COVID's over, and they need to find a new person in charge of American Sign Language program. And instead of using a deaf person like they used to have, they decide, because they're all hearing, to hire a hearing person to run an American Sign Language program. That is the definition of ableism. Where disabled people can't do it, so you go with an able person to replace them. Even there are many, many, many disabled people who can fulfill that role. So this popped up on my inbox right before we went on the air today. I didn't even know this was going on. I'm not on TikTok. There's nothing the internet loves like a challenge. That isn't even a sentence. I didn't write it, though. The cinnamon challenge. Now, I kind of know what that is. That's where you put, dry cinnamon in your mouth and you try to swallow it and you can't, so you spit it out on people. The ALS ice bucket thing, I remember that, where you dumped ice, water, and ice over your head to raise money for ALS. A Devious Licks, I don't know what that is. The Kylie Jenner Lip Challenge, I don't know what that is. The list literally goes on. I did not write that sentence either. Internet challenges are usually all in good fun, but TikTok's latest challenge makes people with disabilities the brunt of the joke I wonder if the Lion King is involved in any way. Meaning it's harmful and not funny. I haven't even heard about this, but now it's almost like you're bringing attention to something that's awful. But I guess it deserves conversation. The making a cake, devious licks, Gordon says, is horrendous. It somehow means stealing from your school, and that could be anything from hardware, even soap dispensers. Oh, yuck. What's wrong with these people? Give them a job of the Lion King. Get them out of the real world. So I guess this new meme internet thing, making a cake blind, deaf, and mute. Now, that's slightly better than blind, deaf, and dumb, which is what people used to say all the time. Mute is not better than dumb, but deaf and does not speak is better. Gordon says school admins have had to lock up bathrooms and handed out keys at one time to ensure that schools don't get robbed. Now that I think I've seen discussed. And they lock the bathrooms between classes. And so these terrible children then pee on the locked doors and put their hands in their pants and poop a little bit and then smear their feces on the door handle and on the lock that has locked their bathroom door. The Making a Cake Blind, Deaf, and Mute challenge involves 3 people attempting to bake a cake while one is blindfolded, another wears noise-canceling headphones, and the third person tapes their mouth shut. Well, they're geniuses. I'm already getting angry. The trend seems to have originated from a video posted by Meow Meow in late September and currently has almost 10 million views. In iterations of the trend, TikTokers are seen laughing, bumping into each other, yelling, and using outsized gestures to communicate as they attempt to bake a cake. A TikTok from another account identifies itself as affiliated with Temple University's Institute on Disabilities, calls the trend for being harmful and ableist. Good. And it's ableist because these are not disabled people pretending to be disabled and making fun of them. This trend is so harmful because it perpetuates the negative stereotype of helplessness for being disabled. These gross overreactions to garner views is just discrediting the hard work that many people with disabilities have had to do to learn how to cook. Especially the blind. The blind have a very hard. It's very dangerous to be blind and to live alone and to use a knife and an oven and a stove. It's filled with danger. Making fun of people with disabilities isn't funny. It's hurtful and invalidating and infantilizing. The baking while blind, deaf, and mute trend would have viewers believe that people who are blind, deaf, and or mute either cannot cook or have extreme difficulty in doing so. But that's not true. There are kitchen modifications and accessible equipment and recipe formats created for disabled people. And even though cooking for someone who has disabilities might look different, being able to cook is a really important skill for those with disabilities because it encourages independence, the exact opposite of helplessness. I don't know where all these people find the time to go and, come up with these ridiculous, mean and crazy, hurtful things. And they think it's funny. Ugh. All right, it's time for our next break. And when we come back, AirPods as hearing aids. Oh, yeah. That's going to be a good one. A little hard to believe, but maybe not really. Returning in a moment. Hey, we're back for break. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv. BULES.tv, television. On the break, I was signing Jana Marie up for the Notion.ai alpha test. And we click through everything, and it lands you exactly where we landed up here, which is in the Notion.so. It's very misleading. She accepted my invitation, but she's not in. She's on a wait list. Very, very curious. So people who have hearing problems, and if they need a hearing aid, usually have to spend a lot of money. Just like a basic hearing aid that goes in your ear, traditionally has cost $3,000 per ear. So you're in for $6,000. And if you have really good insurance might pay for $4,500 of that. And then you have to come up with the rest, $1,500. And then if you're someone like Don Imus, who is dead now, but was in radio and needed to be able to hear to do his job, he said his hearing aids, for what they were doing, were at that time $15,000 for 2 hearing aids. He thought it was ridiculous, and he had a lot of money. So this summer, after many years of dismay, you can now buy hearing aids over the counter for maybe $800 instead of $3,000. $800 for 2, $400 each. And there are a lot of companies like Sony and Bose who have great headphones, audio experts, who are starting to get into the hearing aid business. That is very good for deaf people, people losing their hearing, people who don't want to wear hearing aids. It's all trending, as they say, in the right direction. And this article from the Wall Street Journal today is really fantastic. That Apple AirPods will help you hear better. A feature on Apple's earphones helps adults with mild to moderate hearing loss hear speech better. I'm all for it. So for $250, which for many people is outrageous for listening to music, but when you consider they might be able to help you hear better, instead of $3,000, $6,000, $800, $250, that's a deal. $249 pair of Apple earphones might help some people hear almost as well as hearing aids. A study published Tuesday in the journal iScience found that a sound amplification feature on Apple's AirPods Pro helped adults with mild to moderate hearing loss speech nearly as well as 2 prescription hearing aids. Wow! The study compared 2 kinds of Apple earphones to 2 hearing aids from other companies. Now, amazing. Now, I have these new Apple AirPod Pros. They are new, and it's very interesting. You put them in your ears. They do an ear fit test with the iPhone, where they send signals to make sure that they fit properly. And if you need bigger things that go in your ear or smaller things, little rubber things, they tell you what size you need. And then, this was very new to me, what I'm calling surround sound. You click on setting that up, and you hold your iPhone. It turns on your camera, and you hold your iPhone near your ear, and it's like Face ID, where you move your head all around and get to Face ID. You do the same thing for your ear, and sometimes it takes a little while. And it says, okay, ear ready. Then they do this, do the other side. My left side took a long time because the camera is reading your ear and where it is in space, I guess. And then it says confirmed. And then when you play music, And it doesn't have to be Apple Music. It's any music you play on your iPhone that's going into your AirPods Pro. When you turn your head, the sound moves from one ear to the other, as if you're listening to a live concert. Other way, you go to a different room, the music travels with you. It's very interesting technology. Really interesting technology. They won't replace hearing aids, but it's a good way for people to experience what the world would be like if they could get some help. It's an upgrade for their hearing. Now, Apple AirPods, the cheap version, $129, the AirPods 2, not the Pro version, were not found to adequately alleviate hearing loss. Okay, that makes sense. And I've had both of them. And the AirPods 2 were pretty bad. The new Pros, very interesting. I was even able to personalize it. I'm not a big personalization guy. I wish I had my autofocus on. But this time I thought, well, okay, because these are like everywhere. They're ubiquitous. So like if you leave them somewhere, you could find them again. And I got them, and they shipped the next day. There was no delay whatsoever in, quote, engraving it. Fabulous. Millions of people in the U.S. have hearing loss, but only a fraction use hearing aids. Very true. Which can cost thousands of dollars per pair and are not usually covered by insurance. That's very true. You have to really make sure you have good insurance if you're going to try to get into hearing aids. Among adults 69 and younger, only about 1 in 6 who could benefit from the devices have used them. In the new study, the AirPods Pro did not meet Food and Drug Administration standards for hearing aids. But they amplified sounds as well as some less advanced devices that help people hear better. Apple said it has not advertised AirPods as hearing assistants, but has added some features to help people with hearing loss. One feature called Live Listen allows AirPod users to use another Apple device, such as an iPhone or an iPad, to help tune out background noise and better hear conversations. We've tried that. It works. It's very interesting to sit there and you put your phone on your table and people are speaking and it's being amplified for you. It's very interesting. Users can also upload hearing test results to customize the sound on their iPhones and other devices. Since October, which is last month, the FDA has allowed some hearing aids to be sold without a prescription. Adults with mild to moderate hearing loss. The FDA has estimated that the average cost of hearing aids could be lowered by as much as $3,000 a pair, thanks to this new over-the-counter rule. More companies could be working on better, less expensive products that help people hear better. Technology in hearing aids is not sophisticated. These companies are making products that can make things sound good for entertainment purposes, could start directing their attention to these needs. As part of the study, 21 adults with mild to moderate hearing loss were given hearing tests while wearing Apple AirPods with Live Listen activated. The participants also took the test while wearing a basic pair of hearing aids and then a premium set of hearing aids. The researchers said that the users reported the best experience with the premium hearing aid, a $10,000 model. But the AirPods Pro performed almost as well as those hearing aids. AirPods 2 performed worse, researchers said. In a sound and clarity test used to evaluate performance of some hearing assistants, the AirPods Pro met established standards in 4 out of 5 categories, while AirPods 2 met the standards for only 2. AirPods Pro surpassed the ideal threshold for internal noise levels, which could make it more difficult to distinguish softer sounds in speech. Gordon says, that's wow. Imagine how many AirPods Pro could be bought for $10,000. That's a very good point. $10,000. Now, these are very sophisticated hearing aids. You can fine-tune the sound to exactly what you want. They're Bluetooth. They're rechargeable. They connect to your iPhone. They're wonderful, and they work, but they are ridiculously overpriced. There's much room for improvement for these devices. Using earphones such as AirPods Pro as hearing assistants won't be appropriate for every patient, but they could encourage some to find more permanent solutions for hearing loss. I'd have a number of patients prior to this study tell me that they already use their AirPods as quick and dirty hearing aids. It seems to work really well. Limitations of using AirPods to improve hearing include their battery life. The battery life is not terrible, but I understand you're wearing them all day. That could be a problem. Hearing aids and other hearing assistants use internal microphones to pick up environmental sounds, unlike AirPods, which require a phone or other device to do so. For AirPods, only where you point your phone's microphone will the sound be picked up. Now, what are the people saying? This is where it always gets interesting. I can't tell by this statement, but the AirPods Pro performed almost as well as the hearing aids. Which set of hearing aids are they comparing the AirPods performance to, the basic or the premium? I read it as the premium. I have AirPods Pro and use the accessibility hearing enhancement mode that uses my sonogram. That's interesting. I have to investigate that. This is better, than their live listen mode. They help greatly and are very useful as headphones for meetings or listening to music videos. By the way, the microphones are actually in the tips of the AirPods. That is true. And you get stereo enhancement with this. This is different than the author mentions when he indicates microphones are on the iPhone. Yeah, he's talking about the live listen. He's not talking about hearing accessibility. But I'm writing that down. Accessibility hearing. Hearing enhancement. We're going to play with this today, because I have a surprise coming for Jan Marie, but she doesn't know about it. But it's been delivered. But it hasn't been picked up yet. Somebody else says, I recommend hearing aids. But there are hearing plugs available that amplify sound, cut out loud blasts, $130. Bought the wife the $800 Bose product. Once she had tuned them in via smartphone app, she commented that she had never realized how many birds were singing in our backyard. Then she cried. Get your hearing checked. Which model of Bose? Headphones or earbuds? That's interesting. Oh, there is a reply, though. They're called Bose Sound Control hearing aids. Looks like the second generation of the product is now made by a company called Lexi Hearing. Never heard of them until now. So odd, Bose made one version and then apparently sold the rights and exited the market. Oh, that's terrible. The newer ones look to be rechargeable versus replacing batteries, which was my wife's only gripe. I had a pair of Bose headphones, great product, changed my life, but when they finally wore out, they stopped making them and couldn't be replaced. Don't know why they quit. I bought a pair of Eargos, and you see those advertised all the time. Really happy with those. Everything is done by phone and online, and you can even have an audiologist for consultation anytime. Never heard of them. Watch television, they're all over the place. Well, now I have to go look, right? That's what we do. I'm very disappointed to learn that Bose is out of the hearing aids. I was very excited for them. Hearing aids made simple. The Eargo difference. Not ergo, it's Eargo. So you can screen your hearing. I think this is just terrific. And there are a lot of, snooty, snotty people who say, oh, no, 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 no. You have to go to an audiologist. You have to meow, meow, and you have to pay $10,000. If they get these online and they're advertised on television, well, they can't be any good, right? Yeah, come on now. Everything's fine. Have you heard about our friend Taylor Swift? She's going to have a concert soon all over America. Gordon told us he was trying to get tickets in New Jersey. And later that day, I saw a big thing about how people were online for hours and hours and couldn't get tickets. They'd all been sold out. AOC even tweeted that Ticketmaster is corrupt, and all those good tickets were already sold to brokers. And this person on Twitter said, if this doesn't make me the best boyfriend of all time, I don't know what will. Taylor Swift concert tickets are worth it for love, right? And here's a screenshot. 2 tickets, $94,000 each. I don't know if that's real or if he made that up, but it's very funny. And then you have very kind and earnest people replying to him. Cheap bastard, didn't get the ticket for Charlie. Who said I wasn't taking him and leaving him at home? I'm looking to put a down payment on a crib in Texas, so do you mind selling those 2 tickets for me? Uh-oh. Gordon says, I waited 2.5 hours for the Capital One special pre-sale, only to get taken to a screen that basically said it sold out. Oh, no. Yeah, the people I saw talking about this on television were really radical. And they had plans, they were in line, they were the first in line. Then they got thrown into this other pool where they said they were number 2,000 in line, but they didn't give up, they stayed. Gordon says, I logged on exactly at 2 p.m. sharp, and I still had 2,000 people in front of me. That seems to be the lucky number, is 2,000. Everybody, it seems, that they had on TV, I was number 2,000 in line. And then at the end, I guess a couple of these people did get tickets, floor tickets, and they were happy. They said, we're going to see Taylor Swift. But if this is really a problem, and I know a lot of performers have tried to fix it, tried to have special sales, limited sales, pre-sales, and they just can't get around it. And people tend to want to blame Ticketmaster, but they're only selling the tickets. They're getting all their orders from the managers, not the stars. Can't be the stars. The manager of the stars is who sets the ticket price, the sales price, the fees, all those things. Bruce Springsteen got in big trouble a couple of months ago on his world tour, where some tickets were being sold for $5,000. And Bruce says, I didn't know anything about $5,000 tickets. But then his manager did, and it made Bruce look very bad. You can say, look, people want to pay $5,000 to come and see me. What can I do? Come on over. I mean, it's a smart business. Don't try to be this big puss when you're a big puss, Bruce. Gordon says the easiest thing and most equitable thing would be, you say this is approximately where I want to sit. Here's my card info, and then you get drawn to get tickets, like a lottery. That's very smart. I like that. Oh, we got our first troll. Isn't this wonderful? Oh, bye. I think that was the first time we ever got somebody from Trovo saying hello. Gordon says no waiting should be necessary. That's a good point. That's a very good point. You pre-register. Here's my credit card. I want to sit in this area. Here's my range of ticket prices. And then the day that they go on sale, pick, boom. Gordon wins. He's coming to New Jersey. It seems to be the fairest way. But they haven't done anything about it yet. A little unfortunate. So that's terrible. And I'm sure Taylor Swift feels bad about it. Gordon says it's like certain marathons. You give them your payment info, and then you get chosen and you get charged. Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly the way this should be done. And Taylor could make it happen. And maybe she should have, because this is sort of blowing back on her a little bit, and it's really not her fault. But it's not Ticketmaster's fault either. AOC wants to punish Ticketmaster. It's not Ticketmaster. All they're doing is selling the tickets. All the instructions are coming from the acts, the managers. Well, now it's time to take a little break. We hope no more bad people show up. Gordon says Ticketmaster could make it so you have to do a CAPTCHA to prove you're not a bot. I agree with that. Bots are a big problem everywhere. Coming up next, diagnosing multiple sclerosis. Yeah, it's a sad thing. It's a hard thing to have. All right. So, we really hope that our troll doesn't come back. But we banned them. So, we should be good at least for now. But that was our first friend from Trovo. And it was a negative experience. And we had a good experience with people from D Live. We had like 3 or 4 friends there, and then they banned us because we were a mature stream when we are nothing of the sort. We're an immature stream. Returning in a moment. Hey, we're back on Bowles TV. It's BOLES, not television. BOLES, not TV. No Taylor Swift tickets available here, but we do always hope that we'll find one somewhere sometime. So autoimmune illnesses are very terrible, very tricky, and they can start one way and move another. And Christina Applegate, let me see if I can find a photo of her, got her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And here she is getting her star. And there's another photograph that's actually better than this with David Faustino and other people from her show. And she doesn't have any shoes on. And that is her cane in the background. This is what I'm looking for. Oh, September. Oh, where did it go? Oh, it's this page. And with Katie Sagal. And anyway, she's sitting in a chair. There we go. She's sitting in a chair, no shoes. That's her cane. And that's David and Katie celebrating with her. And it's very wonderful. And we're at Christina Applegate. Wait a minute. She's done all these things. She's been on Broadway. She's on TV. She has MS? And it turns out she does. Christina Applegate's early MS symptoms show how the disease can be mistaken for everyday aches. It's really terrifying and scary, and sometimes doctors don't know. And that's one thing that we always have to tell ourselves. Look, you go to a doctor, they have more education than we do. They don't know everything, and they're not always right. And when you have a conversation with your doctor and you ask certain questions, how they respond to you tells you a lot about how it's going to go with them. And in my experience, there are a lot of doctors who don't want to hear from you. They don't care what you have to say. They don't want to know about your research. They want you to do what they tell you to do. And I worked with a lot of doctors in academic situations, and they're just the same freaking way in education. They think they know everything. You defer to me. I'm the doctor. You're the patient. I'm not a patient. I teach with you. I'm the doctor. You're not the doctor. And then you meet other people, doctors, and they don't care. Okay, I have an MD. I know I'm an expert on everything, but I know there are things I don't know. Those are the good people. Hard to find. Multiple sclerosis has been around since 1868. But the medical community still doesn't know what causes it. Is that the craziest thing? The disease impacts the central nervous system, your brain, your spinal cord, and your optic nerves. Gordon says, I was sad hearing that she was diagnosed. Me too. It's almost like Annette Funicello when she was diagnosed. I couldn't believe it. She's such a part of not just my childhood, but people are older than me. Annette Funicello was it. And she lived a long time, but you could tell when you would see her once in a while in her wheelchair that she was in a lot of pain. Think of it as the wiring that runs through bodies and drives movement, thought, mood, basically everything a person has or does throughout the day. And then they don't talk about Christina Applegate, they talk about this other woman, who's actually very interesting. Michelle Tolson was a rockette, Radio City. I remember when this happened. In 2014, she was diagnosed when she was 40. Now, being a 40-year-old dancer on Broadway is shockingly amazing, because Broadway, you got to be young and beautiful. And people who are 40 and over, their joints, their legs, unless they're playing an old person, they don't dance so well. If you're an upcoming person in a chorus or on a chorus line, a rockette line, they're going to go for younger people, just because that's where the energy and the talent is. So the fact that she was still working at 40 when she was diagnosed with MS is amazing in itself. It doesn't happen. She had a blurry left eye, so she decided to go see her doctor. I thought I had to get different prescription for my glasses. It was kind of weird. It was like a disco ball glare. And then her doctor said, well, your eyes are fine, but then sent her to a specialist when the condition persisted. He sent her for an MRI to see if perhaps her optic nerve was inflamed. At 5 p.m. on the following Friday, she was going to go to a bridal shower when she got the call. It's possible I had MS because they found lesions. And those lesions, and I don't know where they were, in her eye, those lesions made it clear that Tolson may have had MS for 10 years. JMS! Yes, I was sad too, but I'm thrilled she danced on Broadway at the age of 40. Incredibly amazing. And if she had MS for 10 years at 30 and she was still dancing, unbelievable. And those lesions made it clear that Tolson may have had MS for a decade. But she said her symptoms were masked as things that dancers go through or that happens as a person ages. And that is the biggest thing. We make excuses. Oh, my back hurts. I heard it doing yoga. Gordon says, makes you wonder if she was dancing through the pain. Well, she had to be. And that's, I think, what she's suggesting is that, her leg hurt, and she just blamed it on, dancing the wrong way when it was something else. If you have some numbness and tingling sensation, maybe in your hands, maybe in your arms or legs or in your face, it's more of just a nuisance. Well, maybe it's those new yoga poses I've been trying. Maybe it's that new office chair I've been sitting in that's causing that tingling sensation going down my leg. I guess that's one of the signs of MS. It's a little strange tingling that doesn't make sense and that doesn't go away. And people do. They make excuses. Oh, I have a little tingle. I think I'll be okay. Because we don't want to know. And tingling can be caused by many things. You might have hurt your arm or your elbow. Sometimes medication can make your hands shake or make your fingers tingle. And if you ask your doctor's not going to think, you have MS. The doctor's going to say, well, let's fix this, fix that. So it's these things that add up over time that by the time you figure out what it really is, it's maybe kind of too late to try to go back in time and lessen the effects. Other common symptoms include depression, cognitive changes, fatigue, difficulty walking, muscle spasms, vision problems, dizziness, weakness, pain, itching, mood changes, and bowel issues. Now, that right there, those are all indicators of MS and indicators of hurting your back, being on new medication, tripping, COVID. I mean, how do you know? One thing or the other. You have to have the right doctor. That has to be a doctor who cares about you. There are doctors who are just dismissive. And then you find a doctor saying, well, I don't like that. Let's look over here. The timeline between a symptom and a diagnosis can vary widely. The fastest route to diagnosis is by MRI. But it requires a doctor believing that a person's symptoms may add up to more than just everyday complaints. There's a lot of writing off symptoms. The hysterical woman, the hypochondriacal guy. Is this hormonal? You just can't handle the stress of being a new mom or the stress of your career or dancing on Broadway. People feel like they just weren't being seen. And Tolson, the dancer, was lucky on that front. Her doctors acted quickly, but the initial diagnosis hit her with great sadness because MS used to almost always mean you're going to be in a wheelchair. That's the way MS used to look. As a professional dancer and educator, I thought I was going to lose everything I had worked for my whole life. Because there are 4 different kinds of multiple sclerosis, each with its own level of flare-ups and progression, there's no single path forward for people diagnosed. Terrible. But the faster people are diagnosed, the better chance that medical intervention can stave off the progression. No matter how the disease presents, it's essential that all people with MS take control of their own care. Do not allow the neurologist to make decisions for you. You do your homework. You go to each appointment with questions. It's smart, but it has to be the right doctor. And if you don't like the doctor, get a different one. Especially if it's a big practice, you could say, look, this doctor doesn't listen to me. I need to go to someone who's a little bit nicer. And I tell you, the front desk knows who the nicer doctor is. I guarantee it. And expect answers from your doctor. If you're not satisfied with the treatment, find another doctor. You may have to go through a few doctors before you locate a suitable match. Gordon says, and the fact that people, especially women, are often not listened to when they bring up symptoms to their doctor. Absolutely right. Dismissed. Like Tolson, this other woman was diagnosed after having vision problems. Her symptoms remained relatively minor for years, mainly fatigue and a slight limp. But at the 9-year mark, she went through an intensive flare-up that put her in the hospital. I had to learn how to eat, talk, and walk. When I finally made it back home, I was wheelchair-bound. I have never recovered my ability to walk. Oof. MS can be a lonely and isolating disease, but with the attention that Christina Applegate and advocates like Lamel and Tolson are bringing to the disease, hopefully people can get diagnosed and build their support system much faster. Now, I have to know, what are these different types of MS? I foolishly think, why is this not letting me decline cookies, accept cookies? Not letting me. What are the 4 kinds? Clinically isolated syndrome. Oh, this looks very technical. Oh, there it is. Clinically isolated syndrome. Relapsing, remitting MS. CIS is a first episode neurologic symptom caused by inflammation and demyelinization in the central nervous system. This episode, which by definition must last for at least 24 hours, is characteristic of multiple sclerosis, but does not yet meet the criteria for a diagnosis of MS. Relapsing, remitting MS. The most common disease course is characterized by clearly defined attacks of new or increasing neurological symptoms. These attacks, also called relapses or exacerbations, are followed by periods of partial or complete recovery remission. During remission, all symptoms may disappear, or some symptoms may continue and become permanent. Okay. Secondary progressive MS. This one follows an initial relapsing, remitting course. Some people who are diagnosed will eventually transition to a secondary progression course in which there is a progressive worsening of neurologic function. So they don't know what causes it, but they are learning to know how to identify it when it does present itself. But it's very dependent on the person being self-aware and a doctor who cares, which sounds like a terrible thing that every doctor would care, but as we know from direct experience, not all of them do. Primary progressive MS is characterized by worsening neurological function, the accumulation of disability, from the onset of symptoms without early relapses or remissions. This can be further characterized as either active or non-active, as well as with progression and without progression. What are the treatments for MS? There are more than a dozen disease-modifying therapies approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to treat all types of MS. Each drug has an indication. There are currently more treatments available for relapsing forms of MS than progressive forms. That's why early detection and identification is important, because they can get you on medication that can stop the forward progression. Scientists around the world are actively working to find more effective treatments for progressive forms of multiple sclerosis. And addressing the challenges of progressive MS is a primary target of the Society's research strategy. And where are we? We are at the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Well, that's our show today. Boy, oh boy. Start out big, finish strong. From being a Yenta to figuring out the MS conundrum. So we had a wonderful show. I thank you for being here. You can find us on our Discord server, which is where I'm going to post all the links that we discussed today. You can also find us on Twitter so far at David Bowles, Facebook, BOLES, Instagram, we're back for now, Bowles Books. And on our Discord server, you can read the live chat that we've had today. You can post images, you can play with our AI bot, you can have all the fun you like. So I hope you have a wonderful day, a non-whistling window, and I hope you feel good and stimulated in all the right ways. Gordon says, thank you for having us. Gordon, thank you for being here. We hope that you have tickets in your future. You never know. So until next time, I will see you soon. Thank you so much. Have a good nap, a good rest, a wonderful meditation. And when ye shall awaken, may your soul be filled with joy and the anticipation of a good, long, healthy life. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.